Kristian Jack alongside Jordan Wilson, Adam Jenkins, and Gareth Wheeler will be all part of the CBC OneSoccer broadcast for the Canadian Premier League final, Saturday, 1 o'clock Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Basically, a simple thing, guys. 3 quick questions we're going to get into. Gareth, we'll start with you. The major headline heading into this one is...
I think it's the theme of redemption for Cavalry. Based upon the way that last season ended, it was a phenomenal final where Cavalry took the game to Forge at Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton for the vast majority of it. Scored the goal in extra time as well, only to see it slip away in the most dramatic fashion possible. It was such a big sporting moment at that time, and I still think that memory of how it all transpired, not that they lost KJ, but how, that still lingers with this Cavalry side. And I think they'll go into today understanding that this is a new battleground, it's a new scene, it's in their own backyard, and I think that Cavalry are going to try to use that to their advantage to ensure that crash ending simply doesn't play out once again this time around.
Jordan, major headline?
I think for me, it's Calvi playing this game. If they don't win now, then when? That's the question. It has to be. You're playing at home. You could argue that the two most important players are playing for Calvary. Warshevsky, Moosey, they're impact players. I know Forge usually have them, and they still have them in their squad. But you're playing at Spruce Meadows on grass. Weather's going to be nice. This has to feel like the moment they capitalize.
Adam?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be, KJ, can they capitalize on the excitement of the week? I mean, we've been walking all over the venue here, and it's absolutely stunning. And record crowd expected tomorrow. So many hometown guys that are thrilled to be here. Marco Carducci told us about the honor of leading his team out with so many friends and family in attendance. And kind of like you say, if not now, when? But ultimately, there's no excuses for them now. They're more well-rested. They're healthier. They're fitter. They've got that quiet, they call it humble confidence. They do have that quiet swagger about them, KJ. So it's like, can they finally execute to the very end, the last whistle this time, and this should be their title.
Yeah, they're all great points, and that's probably why a lot of people consider Cavalry to be favourites. So I'll take this. What kind of version are we going to see from Forge? They've not played well over the last few weeks. Many games didn't really mean anything, but they've also lost to Cavalry in the qualifying semi-final. But when the big games are on and the lights are the brightest, this team usually lifts the trophy. So that's the biggest story now for me is can they be stopped by Cavalry, their closest rivals? Okay, question number 2, Forge. Let's start there. They're the visitors. They're the defending champions. Who's the player to watch for them?
I think Benny Bedabanga. I mean, we did his fit check last night, and he said, brother, thanks for hooking me up, but that's just the beginning. He said that I'm going to go and score in a game. You can maybe expect a backflip in one of these corners. Like that player, that squad, they just love a big moment. They love an occasion. And for sure, Forge have taken their foot off the gas pedal. But what did they do in the last match of the season or a big game? They rev it up. It's the calm before the storm. You look at all of them, they're not phased. They look at it as another game. But when they step onto the pitch, there's an aura about them. There's a lightness that they always approach games with. And I think that they're going to come with that tomorrow.
It's got to be Daniel Para, because it's a player who's been suspended, hasn't played for the last 3 games, last 3 weeks, KJ. And Forge are a completely different side with him and with him out of the team. They're playing Malik Olawabi-Bellewu in behind. Very strong defensive player. I think he's going to be probably preferred to play center back in this one, replacing Garvin Matusala. But Para coming back into the team, it's not that he possesses a threat, where I thought that last time out 2 weeks ago, they got picked on by Fraser Aird and Ali Moosey, and they won that battle down that right side for Cavalry. But with Para coming back in, I think that Cavalry might need to be a little bit more cautious. And the way that he combines with a player like Benny Badabanga on that left-hand side, I think that could cause some real trouble. This is Forge season. This is what this is all about. Big players stepping up in big moments.
I'll try to be quick. For me, I would be tempted to go with a striker because we've been asking that question all along, but I think it's Alessandro Hujabrapor. I voted for Tristan Borges for MVP, and I don't regret it, but then I watched Hujabrapor play that last match against Atletico Ottawa, and he reminded me that I think if he's not the best player, he's awfully close in this league. And I'm curious to see if Cavalry, KJ, try to flood the midfield. If they send a lot of bodies and wait for whether it's Borges, Jensen, Becker, whatever that combination looks like in front of Hujabrapor, how he handles it, because he's also leading the league in passes in the attacking half of the pitch. So if he can have a game where he's connecting everything and getting the job done on both sides, I think they might win that battle.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned Borges, but we don't know if Borges will play, and that's a big story. If he'll start this match, keep an eye on that as well. I'll go quick. I'll go with Kyle Becker. The mentality that he brings, set pieces are always so important. He's the best set piece taker in the league. We saw that he destroyed Ottawa that way. So for me, it's him. Quickly, we'll talk about Cavalry, the third and final question, player to watch. I'm going to go with the obvious. For me, it's Ali Moosey. They're a completely different side. He did not win an individual award on Thursday night, but he missed half of the season. He is the most valuable player. Their goal difference when he's on the pitch is about +10 when he's not the -1. They're a completely different team. Gareth, your Cavalry player to watch?
Well, I'll stay away from the goalkeeper, but because I do think there'll be eyes on Marco Carducci based upon the way that the last time played out in the CPL final. But I'll go to the other side of the pitch, to Jay Herdman. I think Jay Herdman coming into this team has brought balance, and there's no coincidence. They've been playing their best football with him in the team. He is an engine. He works well defensively, and they just needed someone to provide that little bit of a threat down that left-hand side with Moosey, obviously, in his quality down the right-hand side. So I'll go with Jay Herdman.
I was going to take Herdman, so I think I'll list the name that we haven't said yet, and that's Dan Klump, and how he is able to be a force for them on set plays and boss the midfield. I'm curious if it's a tight game, if at all, they take the shackles off him, because we've seen him play as a pseudo-9 at times when they need a goal or on those players to hunt, and he's the rightful defender of the year, and I think he's going to be Cavalry's most important piece to winning a championship.
Two-time defender of the year, maybe, and likely in his last game as well. Absolutely. What about you, Cavalry?
I'm going Shamit Shom. I mean, all the players that you guys mentioned are definitely focal points tomorrow, but I think this match, of course, is all about details, but it's going to be won and lost in the midfield. The kilometers that he's run this year, the way that he's been able to stabilize the midfield. For me, Gutierrez is a talent, but Shamit Showman a stability that provided Gutierrez that platform to really take off. But tomorrow's going to be a day where you get stuck in on her job report, you really control the tempo at home. It's important for a midfielder of his quality to be at his best.
It's going to be great. It's going to be special. We're all going to be on the broadcast as early as 12 o'clock local time, OneSoccer for a full hour. Then we pick up with the CBC coverage as well. Andy Petrillo, Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson, and myself. Adam Jenkins will call the game with the great John Conway. It should be special. We're going to have a winner. Let's find out if it's going to be a double winner or a first-time winner here in Calgary.